Scorpio.
Hello Scorpio, this is your June astrology forecast for 2016, and the full focus this month will be on your 8th house upon which you rule. So it's kind of like a double whammy energy there for you, as the Sun, Venus, and the new moon is occupying this area this month, and this allows you to be super focused on those things that you feel very strongly about. It's an intimate area of your chart, but it also does rule resources that you have here with your partner, not necessarily just your partner, your life partner, but it could also be somebody you work with very closely, like an agent, a broker. It rules commissions, royalties, bonuses, investment funds, and so forth, loans and mortgages. So you might be looking into this area this month to see if you got all your ducks in a row. Can it be tweaked? Can it be perfected? Do you want to take some money out here and place it there instead? Those things might now come up for you and have you look at it. Especially because the new moon too here, Scorpio, 14 degrees there in Gemini. It's the time of the month here on the 4th where we plant seeds for the full entire year, because it's going to be a year until you have the chance for the new moon to come back to this specific area. So the seeds you plant on getting your ducks in a row right now, will benefit you straight throughout the entire year before you get a new moon here next year around the same time. But the Sun and Venus both, they're wanting to communicate because they're passing through the sign of Gemini. And Gemini is very well known for having the gift of gab. They love to talk, they love to share. They're also very knowledgeable, and they're curious-minded and always seeking new knowledge. So you might just find yourself doing some research within these fields or areas so that you can become a little bit more knowledgeable, maybe on pension funds, or looking into perhaps a refinance, and if that can behoove you financially. So you will see. It's a little different for all of you depending on where these planets fall in your own particular birth chart, but in the solar chart, yes. Then we have Mercury now direct, which was retrograde there in May, actually from April 28th straight through May 22nd. So it's picking up speed, but it's still in your 7th house. You had a little extended time here, Scorpio, to have that communication which Mercury rules with your partner. That's what the 7th house is all about. Your significant other, life partner, or it could also be somebody you work with closely, one-on-one. You will have found yourself, and still finding yourself here this month of June, that communication is not just important, but it will just seem to be giving you a little bit more stability, because that Mercury is in Taurus. Taurus loves to stabilize, ground, and secure things. So great time for that. When we talk about retrogrades here, Scorpio, 5 out of 8 planets here as I speak today, here I'm recording it in May, are all retrograde. Okay, so we have a lot going on where we're looking to the past in order to perfect before we move forward again. So now that Mercury is direct, Jupiter turned direct there on May 9th or 10th, depending on where you live. And Jupiter, we always want in a positive sense, because she's the one who is abundant and gives to us. She's like this great mother, right? And for you, that Jupiter is moving forward again now in your 11th house for hopes and dreams. So if you felt things fizzle down there from New Year's all the way here to mid-May, well, that was the reason. Jupiter kind of slowed down, shut her doors for a while, but now in this area for your hopes and dreams, but also your friends, circle of friends, and groups and organizations, you might just see how now generosity is opening up between you and them and your interactions. Saturn also retrograde and will be until August 12th. And Saturn is our inner sense of authority. It's how we rule, right? But externally, when we look at Saturn out in the world, it rules government, people in charge, right? So this retrograde here for you is in your second house. So between now and August, you're going to be looking over your funds. You might feel that you're stepping back or kind of holding a little bit more of a tight hold on it due to circumstance. It might be you looking over your income and figuring out whether you're happy with them or not. And if not, it will be more, how can I improve this area? How can I take more charge over this area of my life? And so for that, I feel it is good. It gives you a little bit more time, because whatever bricks you're putting in this foundation of your income, trust me, here at Scorpio, it's really going to open the doors and guide you for the next 28 years before he comes back around to help you. Sometimes it's tough working through a Saturnian energy just because it is a little heavy, but you know, it's all for the higher good. It's more like he's sitting on your shoulder saying, focus, right? For your good. Now, we have more retrogrades. We have Neptune also retrograding from June 14th straight through to November 20th. Now, Neptune for you in your chart is retrograding in the 5th house. Neptune is all about hopes and dreams and visions. It's your creativity and spirituality, the artistic sense of self. And having it in the 5th house, which again rules self-expression and your artistic side, well, you might just see that you might be finding more time, longing to create a little bit more of your artwork and so forth. If you haven't had a chance due to life being so busy earlier, you might just find that for that there is a blessing of this retrograde. It slows things down so you'll have more time to experience the 5th house, which is such a beautiful area of the chart. It's the fun place in your chart. It also rules love and romance and your children and so forth. So you may have extra time to spend with them and to catch up. So that can only be a great thing. Then we have Pluto retrograding till September 26th. Pluto is that pivotal point of transformation in our chart. You have it in the area of communication. Pluto can be very powerful. It is you being in charge. The 3rd house is not just your day-to-day communication with people, but it's presentations. A lot of extra, I'd like to say maybe responsibilities upon you to be able to present and present in a great way. You have more impact on people than you realize here, Scorpio, and Pluto is your ruler, and your ruler is in that 3rd house, which it will be for quite a few years, but now as it is retrograding in Capricorn. Capricorn has to do with grounding and structures and so forth, the old systems. You're a part of a team that is here to renew the old systems, to transform it, maybe so that it can be a totally different expression at the end of this cycle. But I can see how you and your fellow Scorpions really have a big to-do situation. Challenge is to help bring the old school limitations, bring that down while you're building up a new structure that the world in large can take, and have a lot of joy from in the aftermath. But you're the ones that are doing it for the rest of us. Now, when we start off looking at the top of the month, we have a few challenges this month, Scorpio. May was great. If you go back and listen, the first couple of weeks were fantastic. Then there was a few challenges. And this is where we're starting out here in June, especially between the 1st and the 3rd. The Sun and Venus. The Sun, which is always you, the essence of who you are and the inside, and Venus, which rules the principle of love, but also money, they're going to be squaring off on Neptune. Neptune, when it is perfectly aspected and in a good light, it operates as the higher octave of Venus. Venus ruling love, then Neptune will be higher love, cosmic love. If it rules money, Neptune rules spiritual money, right? And inner resources in that sense. But Mercury's weakened due to its retrograde aspect, but also because the Sun and Venus are squaring off, meaning creating a very difficult aspect to this Neptune. So there could be promises that won't be held because disappointments are often, the results of miscommunications and confusions and so forth. So if somebody's promising something that sounds too good to be true, well, then probably it isn't. Not all pieces of actuality is in place, because here on the 3rd, that very same Sun and Venus is now being opposed to Saturn, which is our inner sense of authority or somebody else's authority. And so when they're at odds, it's like I hear this internal communication saying between two people, like, well, you said this and you promised this, and this person would say, I didn't say that at all. So if communication isn't expressed clearly, it will be received totally different on the listener. And so we got that confusion going on, and it might just lead to a little friction and aggravation, because on the 9th, Mercury, which rules communication, is off in this direction, and the totally different direction is Mars, your actions. So we have friction here too. They're not aligned. We always like to have the mind and our physical energy, as clear as possible to obtain whatever goals we're working for, but everything is like a push-pull. So people might be a little bit more short-tempered. You might feel that you're a little bit more short-tempered. So lay low here on the 9 and just tell yourself that even this is passing. On the 12th and the 14th, though, thank God, there is a little island in the middle of space which can give us a little good news. And that is Venus and the Sun, both coming in with a beautiful aspect to Uranus, the planet of the unexpected, surprises, and the oh my gods, right? Now, the Sun being you and Venus being what you value, and it's also love and romance and money too, this is coming from an area for you between the 6th house and the 8th, also the 9th house there of Venus. So this could be from a coworker perhaps, or it could be something in your day-to-day routine that might just surprise you here monetarily, because the 8th house rules money. Maybe there's a little bonus, maybe news of maybe a raise or some payout, and it could be something that you might have waited for, which has been slowed down through the other retrogrades, but maybe there's this door now opening up. On the 17th through the 20th, again, we have this whole same drama that we had in the beginning of the month about what people are saying and what they're hearing, and it not coming together. So the challenge is now Saturn is also involved, and that has to do with karma. So if something sounds too good to be true, it probably isn't. Do your research. Saturn and Neptune both are retrograde. So, and they're squaring off on each other. It could be a situation from the far past too, coming into the picture, now wanting some more clarification, information, and so forth. This is going to run straight through to the 20th, when Mercury is going to oppose that same Saturn that's squaring off on Neptune, and it's squaring off on Neptune also. So not too easy of a month, to say the least. However, though, it's just, this is why we have retrograde, so we can clear out the olds, we can purge away, and once it's all dealt with, then we're good to go. As we come towards the end of the month, it's starting to look up again here, Scorpio. We have that full moon on the 20th at 29 degrees in Sagittarius, and that's going to be illuminating your 2nd house from money and income. But since it's on that last degrees, well, it's going to easily bleed over and illuminate the 3rd house for you as well, which has to do with communication and your siblings or your more direct community that's around you. So this is a great time for you for communication and money as well. That's on June 20th. Then at the end, we have Jupiter, which is now direct, picking up speed, having all of this generosity and abundance alongside with it in a beautiful golden trine to Pluto. Now this is from your hopes and dream area in the 11th house, coming straight down here to your third house, which has to do with communication and travel. The third house is travel, and Jupiter is also travel. So for those of you who are thinking about a vacation, great time to do so. It's going to be a happy time, meeting happy people, should I say. And for those of you having a reunion, it should be absolutely fabulous, because on the 27th, we have Venus, which is love, the things that you value, also in a beautiful trine to Neptune, which is your dreams and your desires and your hope and spirituality and creativity. So great time there as we conclude the month of June. I would say though, Scorpio, listen to your Taroscope here for this month, as it gives you a full list of other things taking place here now this month and what the cards will show for you. And I will see you in July. So have a good one now.